Welcome to Candace Lynn TV. I'm going to show you guys how I created this canvas using heat transfer vinyl, starting with making the design on my iPhone and applying the vinyl to the canvas using my iron.
Hi, ChillLikePeace.
So first I need to find my image, and I'm going to do that by going into Safari. You can use whatever search engine you want, and I'm going to use Google. So once I bring up Google, I'm going to change it so that I can search for images, and I'm going to look for crayon clip art images, and I'm going to make sure that they are black and white. It did not take me long to find the image that I want because I'm going to choose that first one that you see on the right. So I'm going to click on that image, and then I'm going to hold down my finger on the image, and this will pop up. So you click add to photos, and it's going to save the image to your photos, and that's it for the image. And I'm going to do the single crayon, and you'll see why in the future. Now that I think about it, I could have used one of the images that had multiple crayons in the back, but I had a different initial design, so that's why I used the single one, but I'm going to end up changing that design. So now I'm going to go into Fonto and get my free font. So I click that camera at the bottom in the center. Once I do that, I'm going to click on plain images when this comes up. Once you click on plain images, your screen should look like this. So you'll pick that white square at the top on the right that does not have any lines or grid on it. And then once this comes up, you will click the icon at the top on the right as well. You do not have to change the size, it does not matter, we just need the text. Then click use and save. Once you click use and save, this will come up, and this is where you're gonna basically do all of your design or create your text. So I'm gonna click anywhere on the screen, and then add text will come up, and then I will click add text. Once you click add text, this is what your screen should look like, and you're going to type out what you want it to say. I'm making this for my mom, so I'm going to put her name because she works at a daycare, and I think this would be super cute on her door. So I'm just going to type out her name, and to click on font, that's going to show you all the fonts that you have, but I already have the one I want to use, which is the marker felt thin. And then I'm going to click on the X again, and it's going to take me back to the screen that I was just on, and then I can click done. After I click done, I like to go in and change the color of my text just to make sure I can see it against the white background. So I'm going to click on style and then just change the text color to black. You can change it to whatever color you want to. I normally make mine black here because I can go into further details in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to make it black, and then I'm going to click done to go back to the screen that I was just on. And now I'm going to change the size of my text just to make it bigger so that when I do use it in Cricut Design Space, it's not as hard to get the inside of the letters out. So I made it bigger by clicking on size. And once I change the size, I'm going to also move it so that it's centered. I like to have my image centered, and now I see it's too big. So I'm going to go into size and make it smaller so that it actually fits in the center. And then I'm going to click move again and center that. Once I have the text the way that I want to have it, I'm going to click that icon at the bottom on the right. Any day now. So once I click that icon, I'm going to save the image, and it's going to save that to my photo. It's going to tell you save successfully, and the next step is going to be done in Cricut Design Space. So now I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space and click on New Project. Once I click on next project, this is what the screen is going to look like, and this is where all of the magic is going to happen. I'm going to put my design together, click on upload at the bottom, and then select from photo library, and these are the two images that I'm focusing on. I'm going to start off with the crayon. Once this screen comes up, I'm going to click remove and use my finger as a cursor to get rid of the unwanted areas that I don't need. And don't worry, if this happens, you can just click undo and then zoom in to get those smaller pieces that you need to remove. So that's what I'm doing here, is removing those smaller pieces with my finger as a cursor. Once I do that, I'm going to also show you that there is some text at the bottom in the corner, and it's easy to remove that as well. You just click on erase and then use your finger and swipe over that text. And then I'm going to click next 2 times. And on this screen, you're going to click the cut option, name it whatever you want to name it, and then save. This will come up on its own. Click on the image that you want to insert. I did multiple tries of this, And once I have it inserted into Cricut Design Space, I'm going to flip it so that it's not horizontal, it's now vertical. And I'm going to go into Edit, and I'm going to change the size. So click the little lock in between the size, and I'm going to make the width is going to be 2 and the height is going to be by 8. And this is based on the size of my actual canvas, which is a 12 by 12. This is the size that I feel like looks best on that. And I'm also going to duplicate my crayon by going into Actions and clicking Duplicate. And I have 4 of them, so I had to duplicate it 3 times. Once I have that, I'm going to line them so they're all lined up horizontally and the bottom of the crayons are on the same spacing. The reason I'm doing this is so that I can make sure they're in the correct spacing. So this is how I want it to go across my actual canvas. Then I'm going to select all of them. Once I have them selected, which is now I have them selected, and in Edit, I think, yeah, once you go back to Edit, you can scroll over and you'll find Distribute, and you're going to distribute those horizontally. So now you have the same amount of space in between each crayon, and that's what I wanted. And then I'm going to also click Weld in Actions. So go to Actions and click Weld, and now they move as one unit. And then I'm going to go into Shapes, and I'm going to pick up a square. Well, click on the square, and I'm going to change that to the size of 10 by 2. And all of these sizes will depend on whatever your project is. My canvas is a 12 by 12, like I said earlier. So once I have my square, I'm going to line it on my actual crayons and figure out what placement I want that to be on, because this is what I'm going to slice out of the crayons. At first, I thought I wanted it to be centered, so I went into Edit and I centered it horizontally and vertically, but I did not like that, and I eventually just moved it on its own just to see where I wanted it to be. So this is me moving it around, and I like it better in this placement. So once I got it to this placement, I'm going to select my image and then click Slice. Once I click Slice, I can now move the crayons, and it cut all of that out, and I can just get rid of that by hitting that X, and that's going to remove everything that I no longer need anymore. And my crayons have been sliced, and that's how you slice in Cricut Design Space on your iPhone. Now for my text, I'm going to click Upload, select from Photo Library, choose the image, and then remove the background. This is the same things I did for the crayons, so I'm removing the background here. Then I'm going to click Next 2 times, and then I'm going to click Cut, name it, save it, and then insert it. Once I have it inserted into Cricut Design Space, I'm going to change the sizing of my text, and that's going to be the width of 10 and the height is going to be 1.75, and that's so that it can fit within my section that I sliced out, but I want it to be just a little bit longer, so that's why it's a little bit longer than my crayons. And then I'm going to just center that where I want it, just to show you how the design will look on Cricut Design Space before you even click Make It. So once it looks like this, I can move on to clicking on Make It. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and like this video, comment what I should make next, and subscribe just in case I do your idea. Once you click Make It, this will come up. I'm going to use my Snap Matte feature. It took me forever to actually do this, but the vinyl that I'm using is placed shiny side down, and I'm going to use this because it's in the place that I want it to be. And like I said, it took me forever to even get my Snap Matte to work, but I'm glad I did, because look, I did not cut my black vinyl out long enough. So off camera, before I even started cutting this, I did make a new script so that it was long enough to fit up under the name. And just want to let y'all guys know that it saved my life, that 3 minutes it took me to actually get it to snap my mat. And since the vinyl that I'm cutting is also 12 inches across, I'm going to also use this as kind of a way to find the center point whenever I put my vinyl onto my canvas. So I'm going to try to center these crayons in the middle of this so that I can use it as the base to place it in the middle of my actual canvas, because they're the same size across. Once I do that and have that place where I want it to be placed, I'm going to click Next. And like I said, don't worry about the text down here. I did update that piece of vinyl so that it is long enough to fit up under there and not cut onto my mat. And like I said, you're going to, before you click on Next, you need to mirror your image, because it says iron on vinyl. So where it says on mat 12 by 12 material, mirror off, you're going to click on that text to get to the screen to turn the mirror on. So once I click on that, this screen will come up, and where it says mirror, you're going to slide that bar across, and now your image is going to be mirrored. And I don't need to tell y'all again about the text, I know it's too long. But once I get here, I'm going to change my material to iron on, and it's going to give you the message that your mirror needs to be turned on and you need to place your vinyl shiny side down, and then you just follow the instructions of loading your mat. Slide it into the grooves. When that light is flashing, you'll click on that. I did not have mine in right, plus this piece of tape was in the way. For some reason, my iron-on vinyl always needs some extra securing, so I put tape on mine. And then when it's ready to cut, you will see that next light flashing, and it's going to cut out your material. And then I'm going to unload my mat and then weed out my design. Now, when I began to weed out my design and remember that this does require some layering, is when I realized that I might not have any wax or parchment paper. I don't remember when I ran out, but I definitely don't have any more. So I got to figure out how to layer this and not mess up the design. If you saw one of my recent videos, or the video when I made a shirt last year, so it's not even recent. I made a shirt last year and the parchment paper pulled off some of my vinyl, so it messed up my shirt. But I'm gonna have to figure out how to layer this, and yeah, just bear with me. I know y'all thought I was gonna say I didn't record the rest of the video, but this is just showing you the idea that I came up with to layer my image. So I'm basically gonna take the text, which is the Miss Barber, and I'm going to try to line that up under the crayon, so like I iron them both at the same time. This was my first attempt. Not a really good attempt. I don't know why I thought that tape was going to keep that down, but it is not. So I decided to turn it over because the vinyl part that has the crown is still sticky. So I can line that piece that was cut out with the text right in between that, then turn it over, and this is how I'm going to basically layer it without using parchment paper and not miss my design. And I had no idea if this was going to work, but then I took my iron and applied heat to my entire design, and just make sure you get every piece of the design. And once I'm done making sure everything has been attached, I'm going to remove both pieces of the vinyl or the backing, protective coating, whatever that is, remove that, and my canvas is done. Don't forget to like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe, and here's some other videos to watch until my next upload.